Shawn, you called this entire freaking move to the T. Hey guys, Krisha here. Please be cautious of any fake comments and emails you may receive from people pretending to be Mango Research. Shawn and I will never, ever contact you for investment opportunities or anything of that sort. To get in touch with the real Mango team, make sure to join our official Discord chat using the link in the description below. Stay safe out there, and remember, do it Mango. Dun, 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 dun. And what's up, you guys? welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is today's Bitcoin and Sand analysis video. I have Shawn with me today. Shawn, say hi.
Good morning, everyone, and a happy Mango Monday morning. And my oh my, what a Monday, what a Mango Monday it is.
That's right. Notice the excitement and the pure joy in Shawn's voice. Shawn, you called this entire freaking move to the T.
Just got lucky. It is pure luck. It is luck.
He's just gonna put it on luck, but no, his was it was a decisive strike by Shawn.
Ooh, I like that.
Now, guys, on today's agenda, of course, the first thing we'll be talking about Shawn and his trade update. Okay, and you also posted something very crucial in the Mango Discord chat today, was a lesson. So I wanted to go over that. I want everyone to look at that message and really internalize that message in there. And only then will we be moving on over to the charts. And remember, we opened a brand new weekly candle, as well as we're going to be opening a new monthly candle very, very shortly. So we'll be going over Bitcoin, and only then will we be jumping on over to Sand. And why Sand? Well, because Sand won the popular vote. Now, if you want us to cover any of the altcoins that you are looking at, take this time to get down to the comments section and tell us which altcoin you want us to cover. The popular vote wins. So Shawn, this is your time to gloat, huh?
I wouldn't say gloat, but hey, we can be happy about these things only long enough to enjoy it and then let it go.
So, guys, yesterday I was in the kitchen. It was a Sunday. I think you were in the middle of a game of Catan.
We were in between games.
Right. So, anyways, I was just whipping up something in the kitchen, and Shawn so suddenly barges in. He's like, Krisha, it's happening. It's happening now. That short squeeze, it's going to happen soon.
Okay, no, now you're making me sound corny.
No, I mean, it was just, I thought it was funny at the time because it was so freaking random.
Yeah, she just shakes her head at me, guys. Like,
it
doesn't take me seriously at all.
I got so startled. But it was just after the fact. I'm like, you know what? Shawn never really comes up to me with so much freaking conviction in his voice. In fact, he's always, he tries to approach the charts with as little bias as possible. Now, you guys know that. Right? So now I'm actually very curious, Shawn. What got you, what gave you that conviction and that it's going to happen soon?
It's a multitude of factors that were playing out on the chart leading into that close, that weekly close. And those of you who have been following Mango long enough, you guys probably all saw the same things I was looking at, because I've been iterating and emphasizing on these important factors for months now, right? For our entire journey at Mango. So one of the things I really like to look at is the last 12-hour close and the leading into the weekly close, right? Mm-hmm. So the 4-hour closes within that 12-hour close, right, leading into the weekly close was really important going into this Monday morning open.
Right.
And so essentially what was happening, right, before the short squeeze, when I came up to you in the kitchen, Krisha, so my chart is, of course, different. I have my lines completely different. But if you guys do remember from yesterday's video too, we were talking about how, we talked about this candle specifically, Krisha, right? We talked about how we can use this candle now as a bias, right, to know whether the bulls have control, whether the bears have control. And right after this candle was put in, we took out the low of the candle, and we talked about that in yesterday's video. Okay, this candle had already happened, and we can see already that even though we took out the low of the candle, there was no follow through towards the downside. This was a major resistance zone, right, across multiple regions. We were looking at it as 2-day resistance. The only time frames that we had going for our favor was what? The daily dynamic and the 4-hour dynamic, right? And on the high time frames, we had four-day dynamic resistance, 2-day 10K and 21 EMA, a lot of resistance. We had the weekly green zone over here. We had a lot of things going for the bears.
Right.
Then we put in this candle, okay? Right over here. And then we took out the low. That should have been enough, in my opinion, to have the price coming down. That alone should have been enough. But what did we see right after? We saw a candle come and close above.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was another clue saying, hey, the bulls are beginning to have control, right? Or rather, the bears are losing control. That's really important there. Okay, the difference between bulls beginning to garner control and the bears losing control, because that plays into when the short squeeze is about to come.
Right.
Then we saw another attempt towards the downside, but it only ended up being a higher low. Now, Krisha, you've probably been seeing this a lot in the comments. I know I have been seeing it, and I've not been responding to it because I don't like to get into debates with people. But one of the things that people have been saying often is, hey, where's the volume? Where's the volume? So price has been going up, right? And they've been asking, there's no volume, so it's bearish, right? But no, guys, no, it's actually the complete opposite. If you see price drift towards the upside on low volume, there's a strong argument to be made. In fact, a stronger argument to be made that it's bullish, not bearish. But I don't want to argue on that note because, hey, you guys trade your way, you guys trade your system, and I will look at things my way, right? But the way we look at a volume at Mango is that, hey, we're seeing low volume, price drifting up. What does that mean? Why is price drifting up if there's low volume? One thesis could be that, hey, shorts are beginning to close out their positions, right? They're letting go of their positions slowly. The smart money, especially over here, Krisha, if you turn on your volume indicator, I believe, is it over here? Yeah, your volume. There you go. You can see that there was really low volume in the zone over here. Okay, but price was drifting up. This entire period, price has been drifting up on low volume. And now you put all of that together. Is that alone? Like, let's say I see low volume, okay, alone with price drifting up. Is that enough for me to know, or for me to make a strong argument on, hey, we're going to see a big move towards the upside. We're going to see a big short squeeze towards the upside. No, but when you put everything into context, everything that we've been looking at for the past freaking weeks now, we've been looking at this, Krisha, for I believe 17 days, right?
Yeah.
At least 17 days on the videos.
Yeah.
But you and I had a conversation on this move, potentially like maybe 40 days ago, 30 days ago, right? We've been planning for this for a long time. And let's put everything in together. We have this falling channel. We talked about how we may get a fake out where we break towards the downside, consolidate, and then have that aggressive move towards the upside. We've been watching that for a long time, right? So why do we say that, hey, it's going to lead to an aggressive move towards the upside? Because of that fake out.
Yeah.
This entire move over here, guys, has a lot of shorts in positions with their stops over here. And we talked about, you can see this X mark. This is from videos like a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, right? Shorts here, shorts here. People put their stops at very, very obvious, I call them naive stops, right? And they put them in very obvious places, and then they start getting triggered and triggered and triggered. And then there's some people who are just very, very stubborn in their short positions. So we are seeing low volume. Okay, we're seeing this falling channel playing out in the direction of our thesis, right? Where we broke towards the downside, broke back in, and now we broke above the channel as well. Then we're seeing that come together with that last 12-hour close of the weekly time frame. So that all of this was happening within that 12-hour juncture that I deem really important, that leads to very important, or rather leads to implications. It leads to consequences. So this was it, essentially. Putting all of that together, I was able to have a thesis that, you know what, a lot of positions are likely trapped on the wrong side, and a lot of positions are likely going to get tapped on their bad stops.
And you know what? It's so abundantly clear. Shawn, freaking kudos. He literally called it trap too. You've been talking about the trap as well. Now, for those of you who, I mean, we pulled up the video wherein you actually spoke of the trap, wherein price could break down, only for us to break back up and trigger that pattern once again to the upside. This was a bullish pattern, right? You called everything to the freaking T. And in fact, guys, if you just go ahead, take the measured move of this, place it on the break, we got that as well.
Yeah, the measured move.
We got the measured move as well, and price is currently hovering over that measured move. But what I really, really like about his analysis, now you saw the X over there, he was looking at those naive stops to get taken out. And technically, if you look at the price action leading up to this crazy pump that we had, every region of resistance was over that naive stop, wherein people could have come in to short the market. People could have shorted here, right here. Notice where price came up to. The first stop was above this region right here. The next one was above this region right here. So all of those stops, you can see it play out on the chart. So Shawn, freaking kudos on this. But what I really, really liked, and this is something that you sort of kind of touched on just now, was, and it was good advice, right? And I think I'll best be able to drive this point through if I just bring up that Discord chat. And it's this. This is a very, very big lesson for those of you out there, and you actually, had a win on this beautiful, beautiful move by Bitcoin. Shawn said this earlier today. He's like, these kind of moves don't seem all surprising once you attain market experience. And that's what he used. He used his market experience to call that crazy fake out, only for price to get picked back up and break in the direction of that bullish pattern. Now he's like, surprising once you attain market experience, but they do make you feel the thrill. And that's what we're seeing right now. People are feeling good. And we still have to temper those emotions as well. As happy as I feel right now, I'm trying to learn to suppress that. At the end of the day, remember, our wins are just luck. But damn, this has been a great morning, right? And then you go on to say bears who were still in position were being stubborn. That's what I mean by our wins are just luck.
Yeah, so this was in response to Berlin saying it's not been a great morning for the bears, right? And Kusha, this goes back to what you were talking about. There was a lot of time for the bears to get out of position, right? The trade on the bears side was invalidated, in my opinion, a while ago. Right?
Yeah,
we had enough time. We were talking about this all week. If I could see it, the smart money was seeing it, right? And you could see the smart money was unloading their shorts. That's why I came up to you in the kitchen. I'm like, this is it. You're going to see that short squeeze, because the smart money, in my opinion, was unloading that position, and the smarter money was even loading up even more aggressively on taking that momentum towards the upside, right? So in my opinion, the shorts, usually squeezes are caused by stubborn money.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really like what you said about to temper your emotions and, trying to suppress that feeling of joy. I mean, you can feel happy for the moment. The thing is that sometimes if it goes too far, you are suddenly at risk of not watching the charts. Suddenly you're not as critical and as vigilant of what price is doing on the chart. So temper those emotions and understand what's happening. Understand the entire market cycle, where we are in the cycle, right? Because that is going to keep your expectations in check at all times. Now, you had mentioned this thing about being stubborn, right? When you were explaining your trade setup, you had mentioned the stubborn bears, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw people being stubborn with their trades. They're looking at on that volume break. They dismissed all of the other signs that said, hey, you know what? Perhaps the bulls actually stand a chance here. Perhaps time to check those invalidation points.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, here's the thing, right? Even though I have a bearish bias on the current market structure, I took the bullish side of the trade.
Right.
And even as bears, even though you guys, I mean, if you're bearish, if you are a bear, you should have a strong bearish bias, but you need to be like, you know what, I'm going to hold back for now, and there'll be a better opportunity. Let's say you're saying I'm taking only bearish trades, right? And I don't want to long at all. It doesn't mean you need to be in a trade. You can just step aside and wait for the better bearish trade, which may come very soon. In fact, may come this week, right? So again, I want to that's a good segue into this little bit over here where I say this, by the way, this move is what I was referring to, does not turn the market bullish. Okay. And Kusha, you talked about how I mentioned we need to temper emotions. The reason I said that is because, again, this comes from the pain I have endured in the past, where one of my biggest weaknesses has been me going into winning streaks, where I have trade after trade after trade that just goes right. And then let's say, you have 6 trades that go right, winning trades, 7. And then the 8th trade, just a horrible mistake where it's just pure overconfidence, pure mismatch, negligence is the perfect word. And that has been a big weakness of mine that I've been talking to you guys in the Mango community for a year and a half now, right? I had a specific video where I talked about this to you guys. I said this is going to be my mission for the year, where I'm going to be looking to conquer this, right? So I look to conquer these weaknesses one at a time, guys, and I put all my effort into it. Kusha calls me a self-cleaning oven, but I take this seriously, right? And that's why I type it out to you guys over here too. Where I said I'm trying to learn to suppress that. So today, when I had this victory, I'm like, no, I'd be happy about it. And I said this to you too, Kusha, at the beginning of the video. Be happy about it for long enough to enjoy it, and then let it go. Because I don't want this to cloud my judgment now moving on to the next opportunity.
Yeah. Well said. Now, I think it's time to get on over to the charts, Shawn. Right? Let's get
next
on to
opportunity.
the charts and look for those next opportunities. Those are going to be key. Now, here it is. Bitcoin, we are going to be starting off with the weekly time frame. But first, allow me to just clear any sort of nonsense scribbles.
Oh man, this was such a good trade. It was the planning, you know. That's what I really loved about
and that's trading.
The plan. Like the plan, you can put the plan together and then executing on the plan and seeing it all unfold. This is the most beautiful and the most addicting part of the trade. Conquering the plan, because you can have a plan put together, Krisha, but if you don't execute on it, it means nothing.
Yeah.
And that's another mistake I used to make in the past.
And that's the thing, execution is everything. So as far as the weekly is concerned, I'm just going to turn off everything. All right, Shawn? Notice how we closed that last weekly candle. Now, we saw something very similar play out on the daily time frame, I believe, yesterday, right? And even the 4-hour time frame when we saw those bullish candles, something very similar to this, however, just on the lower time frames. And that's where I stepped in and I said, you know what, Shawn? Just based on how this closed, this is a bloody bullish candle. Yeah. And I am expecting continuation from here. Yes, I was not expecting something as significant as what you called, but I was expecting some level of continuation. Now, notice what we did on the weekly. We did the same freaking thing. The high was pretty much the close.
So this is a bullish engulfing weekly candle.
It's a bullish candle, okay? So on a technical standpoint, just by looking at this one candle here on the weekly, yeah, I'm expecting further continuation. In fact, we saw that just as soon as this weekly actually started. However, let's not forget that we still have resistance overhead. Now, this is where I bring up that green box territory that we have been looking at, because now this, suddenly, guys, it changes the entire picture. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Why does it change the picture, and in what sense? Remember that green box territory that we have been talking about now for weeks on end? That is a monthly level. That is the monthly Tenkin on the top and the monthly Kijun at the bottom, both of which we had lost over the past couple of weeks. We were hovering underneath those regions, and price has now swiftly picked it up. And let me tell you something, we're about 4 to 5 days away from that next monthly open.
Yep.
Okay, so now suddenly this is looking great. This is looking great. In fact, if I just get on over to the monthly, Shawn, put on that 10 simple moving average, put on the Ichimoku cloud as well, switch off everything. Look at that. Look at that
exactly
candle.
Turn on the dynamic as well, Kusha. Like, you're gonna see boom, right? Just wait for the monthly close. This is again one of Mango's core principles. Don't front run the candle. Do not front run the candle, as well as keep your eyes peeled on the macro, because more often than not that will help you get out of really nasty situations that you got yourself into based on those lower time frames. Okay, it's gonna keep things very, very objective for you. Now suddenly this looks like, oh, okay, you know, in hindsight, price wicked down here, it was great, you just had to wait a couple of weeks, and then we were back up to, you know, what was this? 38,200, whatever. But what's key about this picture right now, Shawn, is that we're currently price is hovering over that last open. Yeah, and that's where I'm gonna hold my bearish bias a little bit more. I just gotta wait 4 or 5 more days, right, until we actually close above that monthly open. Because if you remember, Kusha, that's exactly what I talked about 3 or 4 days ago. I want to see us close above that monthly open. That would be the bullish sign for me on the monthly time frame, right? And we haven't done that just yet. Right now it's looking good, okay? Everything has gone according to plan. The only way we actually did close above the monthly open is if we did see that short squeeze out of that falling channel, have that big move. Yeah. All of that needed to play out. But now it needs to not be sold into. Like you talked about, we have weekly resistance overhead. We have a few other things I do want to talk about in today's video. But it's all lining up. 4 more days to go, 5 more days to go before that monthly closes. Do we hold that 10 SMA? Do we hold that monthly open? Because the monthly dynamic is what you should not have been front running. The monthly Kijun is what you should not have been front running. But that monthly 10 SMA is what's making me a little bit more cautious before I get that bullish bias. Yeah, I agree there. But
So far, guys, this monthly, 5 days left, 5 to 6 days
Jesus.
left. This is looking pretty friggin' decent here. Now back on over to the weekly time frame. Just based on how this candle closed, this last weekly close, I am actually leaning bullish here. I think that we are seeing continuation right now, but eyes peeled on 40,000. Okay.
We hit 40,000.
We hit 40,000 already, yes.
That was the target. So allow me to interject here. That's the thing, Kusha. You were asleep while I was trading this all morning, right? You were asleep while I was trading this all morning. So I woke up before the morning close. So before going to bed, we talked about the 4-hour candles before I went to bed. But now let's talk about the 4-hour candle leading into the morning, and we're looking for the 1-hour candle right before the 35,000 region. So this was it, right? So we had this candle, okay, Kusha, leading. These two candles essentially were the two important candles. This was the candle that closed the weekly. Okay, then this candle followed right after, and things happened so fast. You could see it. The breakout traders entering their trades, and the traders who were stopped out of their positions, who were caught on the wrong side, exiting their trades in a hurry, and everything happened so fast. And we made that move immediately. That weekly trade happened in 2 hours, Krisha. We closed above, right? We closed above the level to get that weekly open, and then in 2 hours, boom. We were already into the resistance level of the weekly, because the trade's over, right? If you're taking a range trade from one range to the other on a weekly basis, it was from here to here. Okay, if you were already in position like we were, you didn't have to worry about too much trade management other than taking profits. But in my opinion, it all depends on what happens from here now. We could see further continuation, but do we close above that weekly level coming in at where you've drawn that horizontal, 39,000 to 40,000? So this is resistance now. And currently looks like on the 1 hour time frame, right, that we're bull flagging against it. But again, I don't want to get too excited. I don't like this win was big enough, right? This win was big enough where I don't need to get too greedy over here. I'll just rather wait for the monthly before I get too aggressive again.
So what are you doing with your trade right now, Shawn? Are you still in your trade? I'm not taking your profits?
Yeah, I'm not in any position.
Okay,
right
so you've
now
taken your profits, right?
I'm out of the trade.
Okay, so are you going to be waiting on the 40K the 40K takeout? So
here's the thing. Let me give you guys a little bit more context to my trade, or a little bit more recap, right? For those of you who are just joining in, if you guys do remember, I talked about how, let's pull up the 4 hour. Okay, I think we should start with the 2-day. The 2-day would be a little bit easier to start with. In yesterday's video, we talked about how we had 2-day resistance overhead, right, at the time, okay? We had the 2-day 21 EMA and the 2-day Tenkin. We hadn't closed it just yet, okay? We were going to close it with the weekly open, correct? But I was like, regardless, guys, I am going to be holding on to my trade. And why was that? Because we had the daily dynamic going for my favor. And we've been talking about how the daily dynamic was essentially holding down price for the longest freaking time. Correct? Now we suddenly took it back. We had 2 daily candles above the daily dynamic. That switched my bias to allowing me to say, hey, the 4-hour bulls, or rather the lower time frame bulls, are beginning to gain momentum. We also had that going for us on the 4-hour time frame. So going into this weekly close, Kusha, had the daily dynamic going in my favor, and you can see the 4-hour dynamic also going in my favor. Okay, so I was playing both of these trades leading into that weekly close because the 2-day hadn't closed just yet. Yes, we were at resistance, but at the 4-hour momentum, the daily momentum on the dynamic on both those time frames, going into the 2-day dynamic resistance as well, 2-day Ichimoku, 2-day Tenkin. So I was like, all right, is this daily time frame, is this daily momentum, is this 4-hour momentum going to be enough to lead us into breaking that 2-day resistance? And we had a lot going for us, right? We had the falling channel, we had the short stops getting squeezed out of the position, and all of that put together. But why did I close my position now? Well, we have 4-day dynamic resistance right over here, and I'm not playing against that. Period. We've been following the 4-day dynamic ever since we started taking our trades, like for the longest time. You know, over here we were using the 4-day dynamic, right? But over here, this big win, the buys over here as well. Like the 4-day dynamic is just not been a good indicator to bet against, right? You don't want to bet against it. You want to like keep taking the trades that it gives you, right? And we close into it, give us the edge to edge from the bottom of the cloud to the top of the cloud. And I don't want to get greedy for anything more until we take the top of the cloud up again.
Right. And this was your trade plan, pretty much, right?
Essentially, and I've been talking about this for the longest time. I didn't do anything different.
Yeah, Sean's been like, I'm trading the dynamic cloud. I'm trading the 4-day dynamic cloud. Good for you, man. Really good.
You just need one win. You just need one win.
I think that this was a great trade set up by you. So as far as the 4 days concerned, guys, let's go ahead and pull up that Ichimoku cloud. Now, yesterday as well, we got the tell, right? Even on the 4-day time frame. 4-day time frame, by the way, has been freaking spot on. Now it caught that freaking that fake out. In fact, the right catch was by Shawn. He called the fake out. Price went back in, and we saw this crazy move to the upside. Now, this is what we called. We told you guys that, hey, you know what? There's a plausible edge-to-edge on the 4-day cloud, and we've seen this play out in the past, wherein as soon as price is inside the 4-day cloud, we see a proper, very, very neat edge-to-edge. So this was kind of expected. Now, I'll tell you what I'm seeing here as far as targets are concerned. As far as resistance, okay, let's talk about support and resistance. We are currently up against resistance. Resistance coming in. I'm going to go ahead.
Daily cloud too.
Yeah, put on those, let's say, regions of support and resistance. So we have one around here. I think it's going to be more of a zone of resistance overhead, right? So the one that we're currently up against, which comes in at 39,500-ish, give or take, all the way up to 40.5K.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the current zone of resistance. I'm going to go ahead, mark that out. I'm going to clear my chart of the Ichimoku for the time being. All right, so what I'll be looking for to anticipate any further continuation from Bitcoin, Shawn, is for us to actually start living over that 40.5K region. At which point, I mean, the next region we have been talking about now, which only comes in at the breakdown point, right? So that is somewhere around here. What is
48K?
About 48K-ish. 47.5 to 48K.
So, Krisha, I'm not sure if you're aware, but on Binance, the futures actually did wick all the way up to 48,500. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I think it is on the Discord, Krisha. If you go ahead and pull it up really quickly.
Let's do that.
Trader Fraser did post a screenshot. And yeah, right over there actually. So yeah, you can see that, right? You can see how the lack of liquidity on the charts actually had price go all the way up to, what was that?
48.5.
Yeah, there you go. So you have been validated on that level, and that's really important for us moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that level is a level that the market is respecting. So in what way? Well, there could be that there was a lot of liquidity on the order books already put over there. Okay, there was clearly no liquidity to respect the real levels, right, that the rest of the market was respecting. So this is why, guys, I am very hesitant personally to trade on Binance and why I prefer to use Deribit. But there was no liquidity over here for us to hold the real levels that the rest of the market was holding. But either there was order book liquidity over there, so there's a lot more market participants respecting that 48,000 level, that breakdown. Or two, all the algos and the bots, okay, using arbitrage, saw that 48,000 level as an opportunity to sell into and jumped on it, okay? Yeah. So now that's information for us. Remember this level moving forward because it's going to be opportunity either on the upside or towards the downside. If we break that level and flip, we can use that as support moving forward. Or if we respect that level as resistance, that could be a good short opportunity for that weekly lower high or that monthly lower high, we don't know, for that big down move.
Man, people probably got really, really wrecked on that. I hope, yeah.
This is why we do an entire module on slippage, liquidity, etc. in the seed module, in the seed program. Krisha, it's just so irresponsible of other, I don't want to get into that, but these are concepts that need to be taught, and these are concepts that you guys need to understand. And without understanding this, you guys can get hurt, right? That's why we put so much emphasis. Before we dive into the deep TA, this is the kind of stuff that we do talk about at Seed. And yeah, guys, so those of you who are new to Seed, use this as an example when you get to the liquidity and slippage module, right? Those sections in the leverage trading. So all of those sections are in the leverage trading module because it's that much more important, right? So people think, oh, leverage, I just need to watch a couple of minutes of like a 20-minute video on YouTube and I'm fine. No, there's so much more to that. I think the module is 4.5 hours long or 5 hours long just on leverage because there's so many other concepts that you need to understand to protect yourself. And then on top of that, there's another 5.5 hour risk management module without those two put together, you can't even begin to think about trading futures and leverage.
Yeah, so don't hesitate, guys, seedlings, don't hesitate to go back and revisit some of those modules. Like, believe it or not, even though like I'm here every day, I revisit those modules at least once a month. Okay, there are some key modules that I'm weak at. I'm just weak. I'm willing to admit that I'm weak at certain concepts, and I go back and revisit it. There's no problem in doing that.
Krisha, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because just yesterday, before the Catan game, it was me, Mark, Shervin, and IJ. We were having a conversation just before the game, and Shervin and Mark were discussing, and this is important for all of you watching on YouTube too. They were talking about managing stop losses, and how do you manage stop losses in a profitable trade, etc., etc. And I just hopped onto the conversation while they were in the midst of the conversations, and we end up having a deeper, more detailed conversation on trade management. And by the way, those of you on the seed program, go ahead and check out the Mango lessons, because Shervin essentially took that entire conversation, he summarized it. Okay, Krisha, I love that dude.
Awesome.
He summarized it in written format. He put down Mark's questions and IJ's questions as well, I believe, and his questions, and he summarized my answers, right, to all of it. So those of you on the C program, go ahead and read that. He put in the Mango Lessons channel. But the long story short, guys, we were talking about how so one, Krisha, you talked about how, hey, even Krisha up to this day has rewatched the modules multiple times, because while I personally believe, I just expect all the seedlings to have watched the modules once and then viscerally understand all of these concepts. It's not going to happen. And I realized, because of my my journey with you, Krisha, right? I've had to say, hey, Krisha, do you remember so-and-so section? Do you remember so-and-so module? And then you go back and rewatch it. Yeah. And then I realized, you know what? Just because I know it viscerally and people watch it once doesn't mean they know it as well. They need to rewatch it. And then Shawn said, yes, Shawn, that's so true. I had to go and rewatch it myself, and now he understands it. And then Ted also posted a great section on that. So guys, don't hesitate to rewatch. And those of you who don't have access to Mango Seed, don't hesitate to rewatch live streams. I give out so much of the information during those live streams.
Yeah.
Everything, you guys can pretty much find almost everything to hunt through. If you're willing, if you don't have so if you guys don't have access to Seed, and you guys instead have access to a lot of free time, go and watch all the freaking live streams. Go ahead and watch all the older daily videos, right? You guys can do this.
Yeah. Lots of good information there for free on the Mango channel. So go ahead, watch some of those live streams. Lots of good golden nuggets in there. Now, getting back onto the chart, Shawn, as far as I'm looking at this 40K region right now as the target. As soon as we start closing candles over 40K, I'm saying 48.5K. Here we come. Yeah. The Binance liquidity thing sort of confirmed that region as being a major region of resistance overhead, which is also the breakdown point. So that makes sense, right? But I'll say this. I'm noticing something else. If, for whatever reason, we actually started getting rejected off of the 40K region, I'll be looking for a retest of this region right here. Okay, this comes in at around $36,000. Okay, it's only once we start breaking underneath $36,000 will I be expecting an even further move to the downside, possibly coming down to test the midpoint at 33K, or even hell coming in at 32.5K, putting in another possible higher low. Once again, Bitcoin bears are going to be in a good spot as soon as we start taking out this, sorry for that really nasty arrow, as soon as we start taking out this low here coming in at 29,300-ish, give or take. Okay, I'll be looking for that wick low to be taken out. But here's what I think is going to happen. We start getting rejected off of 40K. I'm saying come down for a retest of this at 36K. If we put in a higher low here, then I'm saying another move to the upside, possibly coming in at around... Let's go ahead, take the measured move. Are you seeing it? It's cascading. All of these patterns are cascading on over to each other. I see what you're
looking for. There's literally,
yeah.
Okay.
This goes to 44K, give or take.
Do you see the Adam and Eve within the Adam and Eve?
Yeah. 44K, and it triggers this one as well. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's just gonna have cascading effects on over to each other, and it's gonna be a pretty immense move. I mean, this one would actually take it above, Shawn. 48.5K.
Ooh, perfect on your trend line. So a wick above there, right?
51K, there we go. So all cascading moves onto each other. So take out 40K, 44.4K next. If we take out 44.4K, then up to around 51K, give or take, we could actually see a wick up there. And you know, the mango's currently leaning. If we had to really gauge the market, look at the current macro sort of situation of this chart and price action, the technicals, guys, I mean, it's still on the more bearish end because we've yet to take out those highs, right? It's only once we really start taking out the high and start establishing that uptrend, right? We're looking for a series of higher highs, higher lows. Only then can we actually start getting bullish. We'll be looking for 47.5K to that 48.5K region to get taken out in order for us to really start tilting bullish on a macro perspective. Right now, let's not forget, we are still only gunning for the ranges. Shawn just played the range to 40K, which met up with the 4-day cloud region, right? The 4-day dynamic cloud region. And okay, so he's only going to take the next trade, you said, as soon as we get back up over 40K?
So now, that's a good question, very good question. The next long trade from this region is only above this green zone that you've marked out, for those of you who are playing the support and resistance, or above the four-day dynamic, right? Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be hesitant to take short trades if they do present themselves as an opportunity in the next couple of days or so, if I do see the right signature in terms of weakness on a consolidation. So the one I was currently putting in a bull flag, the last I checked in the beginning of this video. However, we may see that upthrust and then a sell-off. If I keep seeing something like that, I may start looking to take the downside move. I'm not interested in any upside move at all over here. At all. It's the same thing as trading when we were at the bottom of the zone over here, Krisha. I wasn't interested in any shorts because we were still holding that support zone. Over here, I'm not interested in any longs.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm interested in shorts though.
Do you want to go over the 4-hour time frame very quickly to see what price could be doing leading up to the day? Throughout the day, I guess.
Well, we just had the upthrust, so the 1-hour time frame would actually be a little bit more.
It looks like it's flagging here,
yeah, exactly.
Honestly. It's only once we take out that wick low there. Let's mark out that red candle.
This one over here?
Yeah. Will I say that we come down further?
Yeah, exactly. But we could have another push up over here to around 39,500-ish. Maybe even tap into people who try to time the top over here and put really, really tight stops at around 40,000, maybe. And again, though, I'm just not interested in this area over here. I'm happy with what we've got. And yeah, I'm just looking for the next easy trade now.
Awesome. So are you ready now to get on over to Sand, the altcoin of the day?
Let's do it.
Cool beans. Now, guys, remember, if you want us to cover any of the altcoins that you are looking at, take this time to get down to the comment section and tell us which altcoin you want us to cover. The popular vote wins. So Sand it is. Sand USDT. I've never dissected this chart. So let's do it. Let us do it. Okay.
Ooh, what is going on here? So money seems to be leaving this coin while... okay, that was the 1-hour time frame. Okay, yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. So it's it's a relatively new coin, eh?
That didn't do too bad. I mean, we saw well Bitcoin and the other altcoins were just hovering.
It did really good over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Over the past 4 weeks, it pretty much had a V bottom up to its candle close highs.
Yeah. So I'm saying this is a region of resistance overhead. Allow me to mark it out for you. As you can see, price did not get up over that region. We put in a, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, of course. This is seeming like a lower high right now. Okay, this is currently on the weekly time frame. And also, let's go ahead and mark out the next region of support underneath us. I think it'll be this region right here. Okay, so this comes in at around 53 cents. If price starts closing consecutive candles, guys, underneath 67 cents, I believe. Yeah, about 68, 67 cents. I'm saying further down we come back down to around 53 cents. Okay, that's not going to be, I don't think that's going to be an ordinary move. The thing about these new coins is that even these small zones on the chart that may look like small zones, they're volatile zones. This one alone is a good 23% to the downside. Not something that you want to be caught on the bad side of. So that's going to be your next region of support at 53 cents. And only then the next region comes in at around 40 cents. Okay, these are your major regions of support and resistance. So what I'll be looking for, if you are a bull, a sand bull, I'll honestly be looking for these wick highs to get taken out. Okay. The highest wick here comes in at around 90 cents. And I don't think that's going to be enough. What you want to see is price to take out 90 cents and hold this region as support. This region comes in at around, I believe, 82 cents. Okay, as long as we were closing consecutive candles over that region and price is putting a nice, beautiful, bullish ebb and flow of price action, only then will I really be tilting bullish on this. Because more often than not, Shawn, you see sometimes that price actually goes up to take out the high, only for us to see an aggressive sell-off, right? So that's not something that you want to be, you want to be in. So watch out, have patience, I think, on new coins like this, because that'll give you a better sort of edge and give you a better read on the chart. So if price takes out the wick high, I'll be looking for price to set in that ebb and flow, at least on those lower time frames, even if it's like remember trends. One thing about trends, guys, it starts from your lower time frames and then it cascades on over to your higher time frames. So I'll look for a nice, beautiful, perhaps a 4-hour trend to be established on this chart to really get a gauge on whether or not the bulls want to take over. So far, the 4-hour is looking weak here. Okay, this looks like an M-like formation. It looks like it wants to break down. I'm going to bring this red line a bit. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, that looks like an M-like formation. If this M actually triggers and we do see a move to the downside.
Ooh, perfect.
What do you know?
You can probably find the structure on this pattern over here, on this chart over here on the 1 hour a lot easier, because that's what you were looking at the beginning and it looked really weak, which made me go like, oh, what's going on over here? See, that's basically distribution right over there. So you can see money leaving the market over here, right? And might be primarily because of what Bitcoin is doing, right? The SAND BTC chart might be telling us a story where people are FOMOing into Bitcoin positions. So you guys need to understand this. A lot of the big players who play altcoins, right? They look at the altcoin positions as inherently one of two ways: a leverage trade on Bitcoin or a short position on Bitcoin, right? Which are both correct ways of looking at it. So when you're seeing Bitcoin move the way it is, right, and SAND isn't, they are feeling like they're getting squeezed out of their positions. So while the USD chart might be looking like it's going sideways, go ahead and pull out the Bitcoin pair, Krisha. You're going to see what's happening with some of the traders who are more concerned about their Bitcoin, right? And you're seeing this pretty much capitulate, right? Again, distribution and a breakdown. And that's reflective of what Bitcoin is doing. Yeah. So when they see this over here, right, they're like, I don't want to be part of this anymore, because they were trading their Bitcoin gains. They were trading how the Bitcoin chart was trending towards the upside against SAND, right? Or SAND trending against Bitcoin. And now going back on over to SAND USDT quickly, you can see that is being reflected by, hey, the Bitcoin price is holding SAND going sideways, but it's not performing. It's not even keeping up, right? You're seeing the low highs, and let's see if we hold this level, Krisha.
Yeah, but yeah, watch out. You don't want to be, like I said, you do not want to be caught on the wrong side of this trade, because the next region is a good, that's like a 22% to the downside.
So what happens now, right, if Bitcoin, for example, rejects that weekly level and breaks down, right? You're going to see this also break down. You're going to see this probably lose this level over here, because the Bitcoin has already left a lot of Bitcoin traders have left the SAND chart, right? And now you see Bitcoin lose its USD pegging, right? And when or rather loses USD value, ensuring that SAND also loses its USD value, and we see that breakdown over here.
Yeah, so keep it very simple. I think this chart is a relatively neat chart. You can see the weekly levels playing off really, really well, even on the 1 hour time frame. So keep this neat for yourself, keep it simple, and have those invalidation points in place. We draw these levels for you guys so that you may have invalidation points on your chart as well. Okay, this is what we personally would look at. And yeah, I mean, this is all honestly we have for you on SAND. I think on a technical standpoint, it's looking weak. The bears have the edge.
It's against resistance.
It's against it's against resistance, and we're in a zone, but it's testing key support. If support breaks, we break further down.
Yeah, right? I just wait for Bitcoin to calm down, guys, make its move before taking any trades on this.
Yeah. And yeah, that's all we have for you for today. Shawn, any final notes before we wrap up?
Nope, I think we covered a lot today.
Brilliant. And with this, guys, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.